continuing from where we stopped in the last video, so we'll be starting Arrhenius theory now. This Arrhenius theory is actually very important because JAM brings a lot of past questions on this. So I advise you immediately after watching this video, go ahead to your past questions and treat as much number of questions as possible on electrochemistry, on Arrhenius theory. Yes, what's Arrhenius theory? Arrhenius theory, which was postulated in, I can't remember the exact year now. I think 1887 or thereabout. Yes, it states that for for electrolytes to conduct, they have to what? They will dissociate. They will experience a process called dissociation or ionization. Yes. So let's go now. So we have dissociation or ionization. After that, we have what? We have, he said they will migration. Then there will be what? There will be preferential discharge. So these are the three things that are associated with that. Yes, we have dissociation or ionization, we have migration, then we have preferential discharge. So let's take them one after the other. What's dissociation? Dissociation or ionization is the splitting of a what? Of an electrolyte. Yes. So let's say electrolyte is always in two form, molten or what? Or aqueous. So let's say we have molten NaCl now, molten NaCl solid, or we also have NaCl aqueous. Let's try the process of dissociation of this one. It will be what? Na plus, right? Then this is what? Cl minus, molten. Molten will always give us what? Two ions. While aqueous will always give us what? Up to four ions. So yes, let's dissociate this now. NaCl is what? Na plus, Cl minus. Now this aqueous means what? Water. Now the dissociation of water will give you what? H plus, OH minus. Do you get it now? H plus, OH minus. Yeah, these positive ions are always called what? Cations. Because they are going to the what? They are going to the cathode. What's the reason? Cathode is what? Negative. So it will attract what? Positive ions. So that's why they are coming to the cathode. So from the word cathode, we have what? Cations. Ions that are coming to the cathode. Let's move on now. These negative ions are called what? Anions. That means they are coming to the what? Anode. They are coming to the anode. Yeah, so I believe we can move on now. Let's try for another one. Let's try for molten copper 2 chloride and aqueous copper 2 chloride solution. So let's go now. Let's write the dissociation for molten copper 2 chloride. We have what? Cu2 plus and what? Cl minus, just molten. Aqueous of this one will give us what? Cu2 plus, Cl minus. Aqueous means what? Water, H plus, OH minus. You get it now. So these are the four ions that will come out. H plus, OH minus, Cu2 plus, Cl minus. And the molten will be Cu2 plus Cl, just like that. Yes, so you are trying for this one. Cu2SO4 aqueous. Then you are trying for this one. I'm coming PbCl2 molten or insolid. Yeah, molten. Then you are trying for H2SO4. H2SO4 is called acidified water. Like when you have water and H2SO4. So this is aqueous H2SO4. Then yes, let's go with this. So let's write for the dissociation of CuSO4. Aqueous, right? So aqueous means what? Water is there. CuSO4 and what? And water. So let's go. What's Cu? Cu2 plus SO4 2 minus. Do you get it? Cu2 plus SO4 2 minus. Then H2 will decompose to what? H plus OH minus. Do you get it now? Yes. So let's take the next one now. PbCl2 molten. Anytime they said something is molten, you will dissociate it into what? Pb2 plus Cl minus. So it's molten. Yeah, let's move on now. We have the last one, H2SO4. Yes, what's H2SO4? H plus, H2SO4 aqueous. H plus, SO4 2 minus. Aqueous is what? H plus, OH minus. So you have 4 ions. And don't forget that this positive, I call them what? This positive are called what? Cations. While this negative are called what? Anions. Why are they called anions? They are they go to the anode, which is positive, minus. Then this one, they are called cations because they migrate to the cathode. Let's go deep into it now. So okay, yes, we've talked the first part, which is dissociation. Now the second part now is what is migration. Migration. I already taught you migration. I said the positive ions will do what? They will migrate to the what? To the cathode. So if you have CuSO4 solution now, CuSO4 in aqueous solution, then you have something like this: anode, cathode. You know, we are dealing with electrodes. We are dealing with electrolytic cell. I mean anode, then what? Cathode. So this one is negative anyhow. Yes. So you know the first thing that will happen is what? This one will dissociate. That's the first step. So you have, let me draw the electrolytes. Yes. So when this one dissociates, you have what? Cu2 plus, SO4, 2 minus. Then aqueous means what? H plus, OH minus. So let's move on now. Now they said which one will migrate to the anode? The what? The negative ions. So these two, they will come here. They will migrate. SO4 2 minus, then OH minus. And this will migrate to the cathode. You have what? Cu2 plus to give you what? H plus. So yes, that's just that. So migration, the negative will migrate to the positive will migrate to the negative. So that's migration. So the third thing now is what? Preferential discharge. Preferential discharge. Now, why do we have, what's the meaning of preferential discharge? Now, discharge means what? One will be discharged. Then what's the meaning of preferential? That means one will be discharged by according to what? Preference. According to preference. Now, how do we know the one that will be discharged? The thing is that you have two ions, but you only need just one of these ions to be discharged. The same thing here, you need just one of these ions to be discharged. So how do we know that particular one? That particular one that will be discharged. That's why we have preferential discharge of ion. Now, three things control the preferential discharge of ions. Three things. Now, what are the three things? We have what? We have the position in the electrochemical series. Then we have what? We have the metallic. We have the concentration. Sorry. Then lastly, we have the nature of the electrodes. So yes, let's move on now. So I said for the first, okay, so the first factor that affects it is the what? The position in the electrochemical series. Position in the electrochemical series. So yes, what the position is what? We have potassium. Let me just give the position. You have potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminium, zinc, iron, tin, lead, hydrogen, then copper, silver, copper, mercury, then silver, gold. So this is the activity series for the cations. So in case you are finding it hard to remember, please call Mars in the laboratory. It can make some gold. Yes, let's move on now. So if you have to, let's say you have, this is K plus, you have Na plus, you have Ca2 plus, you have Mg2 plus, you have Al3 plus, you have Zn2 plus, you have Fe2 plus, you have SN2 plus, you have Pb2 plus, you have Cu2 plus, you have Hg plus, you have Ag plus, you have Au plus. Now let's say you have all these ions. They now said you have, now the principle is just that the one that is lower, the lower one is always what? Discharged. The lower one is always discharged. Are you getting it now? So the lower one is always discharged. So if you have potassium and iron, which one will be discharged? Come here. This is potassium here. This is what? Iron here. So iron will be discharged. Let's say you have another case. You have hydrogen and copper. They both migrated to the Cathode, yes. So which one will be discharged? This is hydrogen here, this is copper. So copper will be what? Copper will be discharged. Are you getting it now? Let's say we have gold and we have aluminium. Gold and aluminium. This is gold here. This is aluminium here. Which one will be discharged? Gold is actually 3 plus 2. So gold will be what? Gold will be discharged. So take note of that. Take note of that. So the one that is lower will be discharged. Now for the electronegative, this is the principle. Food seller no collect bribe in Osun or Ondo. Yes. So let's say we have F minus and BR minus. Which one will be discharged? The lower one. BR minus. This F, this BR. So BR minus will be discharged. Are you getting it now? Let's say we have Cl minus and SO42 minus. Which one will be discharged? The one that is lower, Cl minus. So let's take some questions on this now. In the electrolysis of copper sulfate, yes, the product at the cathode is so let's do it now. The first thing is what? Dissociation. So let's dissociate copper sulfate solution. Let me just put it, copper sulfate solution. So you have CuSO4 aqueous. So Cu is what? Cu2 plus, SO42 minus, right? Aqueous is what? H plus, OH minus. Do you get it now? So now you have Cu2 plus, H plus, SO42 minus, OH minus. Now this one will migrate to the what? To the cathode. The positive will migrate to the cathode, while the negative will migrate to the what? To the positive electrode, the anode. Now they said the product at the cathode is, so you have two things, copper and what? Hydrogen. So between copper and hydrogen, which one will be discharged? Check it. This is copper here, then this is hydrogen here. Which one is lower? Copper. So the product at the cathode is what? Copper. Now you know write Cu2 plus. They said what's the product? It is what? You say copper deposits. Do you get it now? So the product at the cathode is what? Copper deposits. Let's take another one now. In the electrolysis of lead bromide, molten lead bromide, the product at the anode is, okay, this one is actually not, okay, let me change it to aqueous to make it interesting. The product at the anode is what? So let's dissociate. We have PbBr2 aqueous. So let's dissociate. We are going to have what? Pb2 plus, then what? Br minus. Aqueous means what? H plus, OH minus. They said anode. Which one is going to the anode? Any of these two. Anode. So they said which one will be the product at the anode. Now check it. Between Br minus, this is it, and OH minus, which one is lower? Br minus and OH minus, which one is lower? That's what? OH minus. So OH minus will be the one that will be what? Discharged. OH minus will be discharged. But they ask for what? The product. What's the product that the discharge of OH minus will give you? It will give you what? Oxygen. It will give you oxygen. This is the balanced reaction. So it will give you what? Oxygen. So the product formed is what? The product is what? Oxygen. Let me just give you the products. Yes, let's say for instance we have Ag plus. Ag plus is what? Silver ion. Then I said what is the product formed? You write what? Silver deposits. Let's say you have Cl minus. What will be the product formed? You write what? Chlorine gas. Are you getting it now? Let's say you have H plus. What will be the product formed? Hydrogen gas. Are you getting it? So take note of that. Take note of that very well. Let's take another up to 3 questions now. Let's say you have copper 2 chloride aqueous solution. Then I said what will be the product at your cathode? Then what is your product at your anode? Let's do these two together. Now CuCl2, you have what? Cu2 plus, right? Cl minus. Aqueous means what? H plus, OH minus. These ones are migrating to the what? To the cathode. These ones are migrating to the what? To the anode. So what's the product at your cathode? You have Cu2 plus, you have H plus. The one that is what? The one that is lower. So check it out. Cu2 plus and what? H plus. Cu2 plus is what? Lower. So the answer for this one is Cu2 plus. What will be your product? Copper deposit. Let's check the other one. Anode. You have OH minus, you have Cl minus. OH minus, Cl minus. This is it. OH minus, then you have Cl minus. Which one is lower? OH minus. So OH minus will be, then what will be your product formed? Oxygen gas. You get it now? Yeah. So that's just that. Should we try another one? Yes. Let's take another question now. Let's take H2SO4 acidified water. Yes, acidified water. So let's find the product at the cathode, then the product at the what? At the anode. Let's go now. Yes, H2SO4 will dissociate to what? H plus and SO4 2 minus. Aqueous will dissociate into what? H plus and OH minus. Yes, these ones are migrating to the what? Cathode. These ones are migrating to the what? To the anode. Do you get it now? So yes, which one will be discharged at the cathode? You have hydrogen, you have hydrogen. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. So your automatic product is what? Hydrogen gas. No competition. Then you have this one, SO4 2 minus and OH minus. SO4 2 minus and OH minus. Which one is lower? So let's check it out. SO4 2 minus, OH minus. You should know this one offhand. Fuselano collects by being notion. Yes, SO4 2 minus is this. Then OH minus with this. Which one will be discharged? You have what? OH minus. What's the product? Oxygen gas. You get it now? Yes. So that's how we get our products at the cathode and our products at the anode. Let's move on now. Now the next thing is the next factor that can affect it. We've talked on the position in the electrochemical series. The next factor is what? Concentration. Now let me talk on concentration. Now concentration, the more concentrated ion is what? Is discharged. The more concentrated ion is discharged. The next thing you need to know is that the effect of concentration is greater than the effect of what? Position in the electrochemical series. The effect of concentration is greater than the effect of position in the electrochemical series. So yes, let's move on now. Then concentration is only effective when the ions are what? Close together. When the ions are close together. So yes, let's say we have concentrated CuCl2 now. They now said what's the product at the anode, what's the product at the cathode. So let's try it out. We have dissociate Cu2 plus, right? Cl minus. Then you have H plus and what? OH minus. Yes, which one will migrate to the anode, which one will migrate to the cathode? This positive, they will go to the what? To the cathode. This negative, they will go to the what? To the anode. Are you getting it? Yes. So they now said concentrated. That means Cu and Cl2 they are what? Concentrated. So this one is concentrated. This one is concentrated. Are you getting it now? Now, yes, let's come to the cathode. Which one will be discharged? Cu2 plus and what? H plus. So if you use position in the electrochemical series, which one is lower? Which one is lower? So you have Cu2 plus, you have H. That's what? Cu2 plus. If you want to use concentration too, I said the more concentrated the ion is what? Is discharged. This one is concentrated, this one is not concentrated. You understand? So it is the concentrated ion that will be what? That will be discharged. So what's our product at the cathode? Our product is what? Copper deposit. Copper deposit. Let's go to the anode. Now at the anode we have what? Cl minus, and we also have OH minus. Cl minus and OH minus. Now this Cl minus is what? Is concentrated. This OH minus is what? Not concentrated. So I said the more concentrated ion is what? Is discharged. And I said concentration overrides position in the electrochemical series. Although OH minus is what? Is lower. OH minus is lower. But because Cl minus is what? Is more concentrated. Cl minus is more concentrated. So Cl minus will be what? Will be discharged. Cl minus will be discharged. So our product is what? Chlorine gas, not oxygen. What's the reason? Because this one is more concentrated. Let me give you some things now. Let's say you have two solution. The first solution contains what? Br minus. The second one contains what? OH minus. Then this Br minus is concentrated. Which one will be discharged? Let's check it. This Br minus, this OH minus. Normally it should be what? It should be OH minus because it is what? Lower. But they said this Br is what? Concentrated. So which one will be discharged now? Br minus. Reason because it is what? It is more concentrated than this one. Another one, we have Cl minus and we have F minus. They said this one is concentrated. This one is concentrated. Yes, let's check it now. Cl minus and what? F minus. Cl minus and what? F minus. So they said which one is more concentrated. So let's pick it out now. Cl minus should normally be what? Discharged. Then it is also more concentrated than what? F minus. So Cl minus is what? Is the answer. Cl minus will be discharged. Let's come here too. Let's say we have magnesium and we have iron. Then they say this one is more concentrated. Which one will be discharged? Magnesium and iron. Magnesium and iron. Which one will be more discharged? Yes, although iron should be discharged because it is what? It is lower. Iron should be discharged because it is lower. But because magnesium is more concentrated, magnesium will be discharged. Do you get it now? Another thing, try this one out. Pb2 plus and Cu2 plus. Which one will be more discharged? What's the answer? Yes, definitely Pb2. Okay, let's say this one is concentrated. This one is concentrated. So the one that is concentrated will be what? Will be more discharged. Let me tempt you. You have K plus and you have what? You have Cu2 plus. Which one will be more discharged? Let's say this one is very concentrated. This one is very concentrated. And you have K plus and you have Cu2 plus. Which one will be more discharged? You know, it will be Cu2 plus. What's the reason? I told you that concentration is effective when they are what? They are close together. Check K plus and Cu2 plus now. They are too far apart. They are far apart. So concentration is not effective. Concentration is not effective. Concentration is not effective. They must be close together for concentration to work. For concentration to work. The same thing in this place. If I say F minus and OH minus, or SO42 minus and OH minus, and SO42 minus is what? Is more concentrated. Is more concentrated. So which one will be discharged? SO42 minus is too far from OH minus. The ideal gap, it must not be more than 3. The difference between them must not be more than 3. Yes, but it's just too far. SO42 minus, OH minus. So although this one is more concentrated, it will not be what? It will not be discharged. This one will be what? This one will be discharged. Do you get it now? So OH minus will be discharged. So that's that about concentration. Yes. Let me explain the last thing now. Then we take questions together. The last thing is what? The nature of electrodes. The nature of electrodes. Now, what's the nature of electrodes? Now, we used to have some special some electrodes. We have 3 electrodes now that they have preference for some what? For some special ions, like platinum, for instance. Platinum have preference for what? For chlorine. Then the same thing for graphite. Graphite has preference for what? For oxygen. The same thing for sodium. Sodium have preference for what? For mercury. Now, whenever you are using platinum, graphite, and sodium as your when you are using platinum as your electrode and chlorine is present, chlorine will be what? Chlorine will be favored. Chlorine will be favored. Let's say we have Cl minus now and OH minus. Then this Cl minus is dilute. This one is concentrated. Let's say this one is concentrated. Normally, which one should be discharged? The one that is lower. OH minus is what? Is lower. And it's also what? Concentrated. But now, let's now say platinum is the what? Is the electrode. Platinum is the electrode. So platinum will be discharged because what? Platinum loves what? Chlorine. Platinum loves chlorine. It's just like you and your father. They are having a conference. There is a conference. Yes. Yes, this is the entrance to the conference. Then your father is the one to pass those that are to go in. So before someone can enter this place they are sharing a lot of money. Yes, but before you can enter this place, you must have what? You must have your they must know your name. They must know your name and your age. They must ask for your name and your age before you can enter to collect money. Yes. They now said, okay, yes, come. They said the first principle is that the person that is lower in age, people that are very young, they are the one that they should permit. Yes, and they give some other reasons. Let's now say this is your father and this is you coming. Do you think when you come here and your father is just to ask for your name and age, under normal condition, your father will do what? Will allow you in, because your father know your name before, your father know your age, so your father will just do what? Okay, enter. Do you understand now? That's why in football, if there should be a football match between Nigeria and Congo, and the referee is from Nigeria, the match you support what will favour Nigeria. Do you understand? That's just the same thing. Platinum knows chlorine before, they have affinity for each other. So anytime platinum is in that reaction, chlorine will be favoured, even if it is not concentrated, even if it is not lower. The same thing for graphite. You have graphite. Anytime graphite is in that reaction, oxygen will be favoured. The same thing for sodium and mercury. Yeah. So let's note the same thing for copper and copper, or if they are both the same, maybe copper is in the solution and you have copper again, copper will be favoured. Maybe silver is in the solution and you have silver again, silver will be favoured. Maybe you have mercury in the solution and you have mercury again, it will be favoured. So let's take note of these special cases. So let's treat some questions together now before we move on. Yeah, lamlat first, then we practice some things together at yes, let's go now. Okay, let's move. We have a question here. In the electrolysis of aqueous solution of Na2SO4, this is it, Na2SO4, dissociate, you have what, Na plus and what, SO4 2 minus. Aqueous solution, you have what, H plus, OH minus. They said which one will migrate to the anode? Which one will migrate to the anode? What's the anode? Which one is migrating to the anode? The what? The negative ones. Because the anode is what? The anode is positive. So the negative will migrate to the anode. So your answer is what? SO4 2 minus and what? And OH minus. This is it. Option D. You get it now? Let's check this question 18 before we come back to others. Yes. In the electrolysis of CuSO4 solution using carbon electrodes, you have CuSO4 solution. The products at the anode and cathode respectively are what? So let's do it. CuSO4. Yes. Then let's write it Cu2 plus, SO4 2 minus. Then the aqueous solution, that's what? H plus, OH minus. So what's the product at the anode and cathode? This is going to the cathode. This is going to the what? To the anode. Yes, let's go. SO4 2 minus, they do not say anything is concentrated. They do not tell us about concentration. There no special electrode was used. You are just using position in the electrochemical series. So this is it. Between SO4 2 minus and OH minus, which one is lower? Which one is lower? OH minus. What's the product that it will give you? Oxygen gas. The same thing for here, Cu2 plus and H plus. Which one is lower? Cu2 plus. So what's the product formed? Copper. And you must be very wise. They said the product at the anode and cathode, not at the cathode and anode. They said at the anode and cathode. That's what? Anode is what? Oxygen. Cathode is what? Copper. So your answer is what? Oxygen and copper. Oxygen and copper. It's not copper and oxygen, no. It is what? Oxygen and copper, because they ask for anode first. So your anode is what? Oxygen. Your cathode is what? Copper. So let's move on. Yes, let's check this question out too. They said Cl minus is giving us what? And it's giving chlorine gas and what? And plus the addition of electrons. They said the name of this reaction is what? Now if you check this reaction very well, you don't need to crack yourself. They said at the anode. At the anode. What happens at the anode? Cryo. Anode is what? Oxidation. So your answer is oxidation. If you are confused about your answer and you want to prove it from this equation, you can say 2Cl minus, this electron actually belongs to this side, minus 2 electrons to give you what? Cl2. These two reactions are the same thing. What is this? Loss of electrons. Loss of electrons is what? Is oxidation. Leoja. Loss of electron is what? Oxidation. So using cryo or Leoja, you get to answer. Let's move on now. I'm coming back to this. Yeah. Let's come to 24. A substance that decomposes when an electric current is passed through it is what? I said electrolyze what? Decompose. They decompose. So check out for your electrolyte. That's what? Tetrosulfuric acid solution. There must be a solution. Sucrose solution does not conduct electricity at all. Copper rod is a what? Is a conductor. Is a conductor. Methylated spirit does not conduct at all. Yes, they said which of the following reaction takes place? Okay, I'm coming back to this. We've not done this case. I'm coming. Then this next question: which following ions is discharged at the anode? Yes, we have an ion containing these things, these four things. H plus, Cu2 plus, OH minus, and Cl minus. Then they said what will be discharged at the anode. So write it, analyze it. H plus, Cu2 plus, OH minus, Cl minus. At the anode. Anode is what? These two. So they said which one will be discharged? OH minus is what? Is lower. So OH minus will be what? Will be discharged. OH minus will be discharged. If they said which one will be the product formed, because this one they just say which ion will be discharged. But if they say what will be the product formed, the product formed will be what? Will be oxygen. Will be oxygen. And how do we get the oxygen? If you are confused, I read it the other time. 4OH minus to give you what? H2O plus oxygen gas plus 4 electrons. So this is how we got our oxygen that we do right. Yes. So let's move on now. Which of the following would migrate to the cathode? To the cathode. Which one migrates to the cathode? Cathode is what? Negative. So what will come there? Positive ion. So write it out. Sodium ion is what? Na plus. Sulfur ion is what? S2 minus. Hydroxide ion is what? OH minus. Chloride ion is what? Cl minus. So they said which one will migrate to your what? To the cathode. So it is what? Positive. It is positive. So which one of the options is positive? Na plus. Na plus. Yeah. The common feature of the reaction at the cathode is what? Cryo. Cathode is what? Reduction. Reduction is involved. Reduction is involved. Next question. Hydrogen and oxygen will be produced during the electrolysis of what? Copper 2 chloride. What do we produce? Copper 2 chloride. H plus OH minus. We'll get what? Cu2 plus will be discharged. And what? And OH minus. Are you lost? Let's come again. They said copper 2 chloride solution. Cu2 plus Cl minus. H plus OH minus. Which one will be discharged? The one that is lower. Copper 2. Then this one, which one is lower? OH minus. So what's the product formed? Copper and oxygen. That's not our answer. They said where are you going to get hydrogen and oxygen? Next one, sodium chloride. Na plus, Cl minus, H plus, OH minus. Which one will be discharged? Hydrogen. Abi, which one will be discharged? OH minus. So what will be our products? Hydrogen and what? Oxygen. How do we get it? This one is what? Lower. Na and OH plus, they are lower. Cl and OH what? They are what? They are lower. OH minus is lower to Cl. So oxygen will come out, hydrogen will come out. So hydrogen and oxygen will be produced from the electrolysis of what? Dilute sodium chloride solution. I hope you get it now. Let's take some more questions from New School. Now, but before we move to the questions in New School, let me explain a special form of electrolysis. A special form of electrolysis. Now, yes, that's when you have the same elements. The same elements as both your what? As both your anode and your cathode, or the same elements. Yes, let's take for instance, you have copper. Your anode which is positive is copper. Then your cathode which is negative is what? Copper. Then inside the solution you still have CuSO4 again. So yes, CuSO4 solution. So let's dissociate. We have what? H plus. We have Cu plus first, Cu plus, Cu2 plus, and what? SO4 2 minus. Aqueous means what? H plus, OH minus. Do you get it now? Yes. So between Cu2 plus, these ones are migrating to the what? To the cathode. Why these ones are migrating to the what? To the anode. Yes. So let's move on now. So they said, okay. So let's start from the cathode. Let's start from the cathode. This one is just a rod. We have copper rod as both electrodes. Yes. Let's move on now. So we have these two migrating to the what? To the cathode. Yes. Which one is lower between hydrogen and copper? Which one is lower? Hydrogen and copper. That's what? Copper. Copper is lower. Copper is lower. So what? Copper will be discharged. So this place we just copper, the copper 2 ions. You know, we have copper 2 ions and what? And H plus. So this copper 2 ions will be what? Will be depositing on this thing. It will be deposited. So copper 2 ion will be discharged. Then we have what? Copper deposits. Let's move to the next one. Now at the anode, we have SO4 2 minus and OH minus. You know, normally one of these two should be discharged. But I told you something, that when you have copper and copper, this copper will do what? We favor copper. So what will happen is that this copper will go into solution. That's a special case. Please take note of that. None of these two will be discharged. None of these two will be discharged. Copper, this place, copper comes out, it win. This place too, copper must win because copper is everything. Do you understand? So copper will enter the solution. Copper will enter the solution to do what? So we have what? Cu2 plus. So this copper will, instead of something to deposit, this copper itself will go into the solution. So it will come into the solution as what? Cu2 plus. So later this Cu2 plus will also what? Will come to the cathode. You know, Cu2 plus is a cation, so it will still come to the cathode. It will be what? It will be deposited. So before we know it, this anode will be what? Decreasing. Anode will be decreasing, while your cathode will be what? Will be increasing. Cathode will be increasing. Do you understand? So if they tell you what happens at the cathode, what happens at the cathode? Yes, copper is what? Copper is deposited. Copper is deposited. What happens at the anode? Copper dissolves. Copper dissolves. Copper dissolves. We use this principle in purification. Then we use this principle in what? In electroplating. In electroplating. Yes, let me start with electroplating first. Maybe you want to coat your wristwatch. You want to coat your wristwatch. Sorry, let me draw anything. So you have a wristwatch. Then you want to coat it with gold. You want to coat it with gold. So your anode will be made of what? Will be made of gold. Anode will be what? Made of gold. Then you make that your wristwatch that is no longer attractive. You make it your what? Cathode. Then your solution will be what? Ag. What's gold? Au. It can be gold nitrate or anything. Just use a golden salt. So your electrolyte must be a what? Your electrolyte must be a gold solution, a gold salt. Your cathode will be what you want to coat. What you want to coat. What to coat. Then your anode, what you want to use to coat it. Yes. What you want to use it to, or the coating material, what you want to use to coat it. So what will happen? You know, we say the anode will be what? The anode will be dissolving. So this gold will be dissolving and will be depositing on the what? On the cathode. So before you know it, all this gold would have what? Would have deposited on this cathode. So everything, this cathode will now be what? Very colorful. So the gold would have deposited. Yes. Do you get it now? Yes. And if you are still finding it out too, you can just use this thing AC. What's AC? C is in your alphabet. You have A, B, C, D, E, F, and all of that. C is inside. A is outside. So A is what you use to what? Coat C. We use anode to coat what? The cathode. Anode will be dissolving to do what? To coat the cathode. So never forget, what you want to use to coat, what you want to coat is your what? Is your cathode. What you want to use to coat it is your what? Is your anode. Yes, let's take note of that. We also use the same principle in purification. In purification, let's say you have an impure copper. An impure copper is always called blister copper. An impure copper is always called blister copper. Let's say you have blister copper here. Blister copper. That means it has copper and many impurities. Copper plus impurities. So you make it your what? Your anode. Your impure copper will be your what? Impure copper will be anode. Then you make your copper what? Your copper will be what? Pure anode. Pure will be what? The cathode. Cathode. Yes, cathode. Yes, let's go now. Let's go now. What will happen? The pure part of this impurity, the copper here, the copper that is pure here will be what? Will be depositing on this one. They will be depositing on this one. So the mass of this one will be increasing. The mass of this one will be increasing. The mass of this one will be increasing until all the pure parts of this impure copper has come here. So here you will be left with just impurities. So all the copper from this place would have what? Would have removed and will come here. So here you just be left with what? Impurities. So in coating, in purification of a metal, the impure metal is made the what? Anode. The pure metal is made the what? The cathode. Then your electrolyte is the what? Is the salt of that metal. Salt of the metal. So take note of that. It's very, very important. It's very, very important. And this is electrolysis. This is electrolysis. In electrolysis, we use what? We use a direct current. In electrochemistry, In electrochemical cell, we use what? An alternating current. This is spontaneous. This is not spontaneous. Yeah, we need a direct current to drive the electricity. So this is a direct current. So yes, because the canals. Let's take questions on that from Lamlad. The two questions I left the other time. Yeah, let's go now. Okay, question 21. In the process of templating a metal, what's the meaning of templating? You want to electroplate it, but what you want to electroplate is a what? Is tin. Do you understand? What you want to electroplate, we want to coat a metal X with what? With tin. The metal X will be made what? We want to coat something with, you want to coat metal X with tin. What you want to coat will be what? Will be your cathode. Your tin will be your what? Anode. So they said the metal X will be made the what? The cathode. Then which type of current do we use? A direct current. Do you get it now? The metal X is made the cathode and the direct current is used. Another question on this. There are many types of questions on this in the past question. Yes, we have another question here. In the electrolysis of CuSO4 solution, the electrolysis of CuSO4 solution can be used to purify crude copper. If the crude copper is now, if you want to use CuSO4 solution to purify crude copper, the crude copper will be what? What's the meaning of crude copper? The one that is dirty. We make it to the what? I told you already. We make it the anode, so that the pure part of it will be what? Will be depositing on the cathode. So the crude copper is made the anode. It's made the anode. So that's the answer. Number 20 is C. So you can check your past questions. There are a lot of questions on this. So let's just finish. Let's check the effect on electrolytes now. The effect on electrolytes. So let's go. Let's take the first one. We have acidified water. What's acidified water? Acidified water is what? H2SO4. So you have what? H plus you have H2SO4 equals solution. So you have what? H plus SO4 2 minus, then H plus OH minus. This is acidified water. Then I said, what will be your product at the cathode? What's your product at the cathode? Yes, which ones are migrating to the cathode? These two. They are migrating to the cathode. So what's your product at the cathode now? Hydrogen gas. So that's how they got this one. Hydrogen gas. The next one, they said, what's your product at the anode? So this is going to the anode. Who can tell me what will be the product? Yes, just try it out now. This one is what? Is lower. So the product at the anode is what? Oxygen. So the product at the anode is what? Oxygen gas. They said, what will be the effect? What will be the effect on the electrolyte? Now, this is how to determine the effect on the electrolyte. OH minus has what? Has left. H plus 2 have left. So you've removed water from this H2SO4. So that means the solution will be what? Will be concentrated H2SO4. You've removed water. So you'll be left with what? The solution will be what? More acidic. So that's that. It's removed, making the electrolyte what? More acidic. Yes, let's try another one now. This other one, you have concentrated copper 2 chloride solution. Copper 2 chloride, CuCl2 aqueous. But they said it is what? It is concentrated. So copper is concentrated, Cl is concentrated. So let's go now. Cu2 plus concentrated, Cl minus is also what? Concentrated. So let's go. Aqueous is what? H plus OH minus. Which one will be discharged between Cu2 plus and H plus? Which one is lower? Cu2 plus. Then it's also concentrated. So Cu2 plus is discharged. We have what? Copper deposit. Come to this place, Cl minus and OH minus. Don't forget, this one is concentrated. Which one will be discharged? The one that is concentrated. They are close together. So you have what? Cl minus. So the product is what? Chlorine gas. Are we getting it? So the product is chlorine gas. So that's that. Here we have what? Copper deposit. In the other place we have what? Chlorine gas. So what will be the effect? Here we remove copper and we remove what? Chlorine. So what do we have left? We have water. So the reaction will be what? Very dilute. Yes, the reaction will be very dilute because we have water left. Do you understand? If we remove water, the reaction will be what? Very concentrated. Yes, but now we have just water left. It will be very dilute. Let's go to the next one. Dilute copper 2 chloride solution. Dilute copper 2 chloride. So what's copper 2 chloride? CuCl2. But it is dilute. Cu2 plus Cl minus, H plus OH minus. It is dilute. So out of these two, which one will be discharged? the one that is lower. It is not these two are not concentrated. So this one is what? This one is discharge. So you have what? Cu2 plus. That's what? Copper deposit. Are you following? Then here you have Cl minus and OH minus. Cl minus is not concentrated. It is what? It is dilute. So it does not have any advantage. So which one will be discharged? So OH minus will be discharged, giving you what? Oxygen gas. Oxygen gas. So they said, okay, if they ask you what will be the effect on the electrolyte, you've removed copper, you've removed OH minus. What do you have left? You have H and Cl. What's that? Acidic. The solution will be what? More acidic. Do you get it now? Let's check. You have what? Copper deposit. Then you have oxygen gas. You have making electrolytes what? Acidic. Do you get it now? Next one. You have concentrated copper 2 chloride or concentrated copper 2 sulfate. It's the same thing. Yes, concentrated copper 2 chloride. Yes, but there's a difference because this is also concentrated copper 2 chloride. But this one we have what? Copper and copper. Copper and copper. Yes, how do we address that? Concentrated copper 2 chloride. I've already told you when you are using copper and copper, everything is copper. What will happen? The cathode, what will be discharged? Copper. Copper deposits. Then at the anode, what will happen? Copper dissolves. This is what we explain here. When you are using copper all through. Yes, this is what I explained there. This is what I explained there. So I said anode, okay, copper is deposited, copper dissolves. Do you understand now? So at the first place you have copper deposited, then what? Copper dissolves. So let's check what will be the effect on our electrolyte. Before you have what? Cu2 plus, then Cl minus, and you have what? H plus and what? OH minus. Then you everything you removed was what? Was copper. What will happen? It will just, you have HCl and O. Yes, so it's no effect actually because you only remove copper. You don't remove hydroxide. So let's check now. So this is what? Copper deposits, then copper anode what? Dissolves. Anode dissolves, then no effect. The concentration remains unchanged. So you can try for the other ones. CuSO4. So you can just snap this or pause, then see if you will be able to get your answer. Yes, so that's just that about that. It's as simple as that. So we've treated all the questions based on this on LAMLAD. The same thing for, okay, for the first video we make, let's just treat the questions also on LAMLAD so that you are saturated. Yes, let's move on now. Let's take this one. They said which of the following could not be satisfactorily used as X? What's X? X is what? Electrolyte. I told you that. What can you use as electrolyte? You can ethanol. Can ethanol conduct electricity? No. What of aqueous sodium chloride? Yes. Can kerosene? No. Methylated spirit? No. So what's the answer? Yes. They said which one is responsible for the conductance in what? CuSO4 solution. What do we use in electrolyte? I said what? Hydrated ions. In what? In conductors we use what? We use free mobile electrons. But for electrolytes, you use what? Hydrated ions. Let's move on to the next one. This represents what? When you have one container, is it electrolytic cell or electrochemical cell? That's what? Electrolytic cell. Next one. The bulb in the setup will not light if Y is, what's Y? Y is an electrolyte. So when will the electrolyte not be favorable? Is potassium hydroxide an electrolyte? Yes. Potassium hydroxide aqueous. What of acidified water? Yes. What of ethanoic acid? Yes. What of ethanol? No. So it will not light if you are using ethanol. Why can potassium chloride not conduct electric current in the solid state? Yes, because it doesn't have what? Hydrated ions. It doesn't contain mobile ions. Which of these is an electrolyte? An electrolyte is what? Glucose, hydrogen chloride, methylbenzene, molten sodium chloride, molten candle wax. What's the answer? That's what? So that's what? Molten sodium chloride. Glucose will never conduct electricity. Hydrogen chloride can only conduct electricity if it's in water. Yes, number 7. Which of the following is a good conductor of electricity? A conductor. That's what? A rod. What is a solid? Yes. Methylbenzene, no. Ionized water. We need a solid. This one is what? Mercury. Mercury is a good conductor. I said all metals, then graphite conduct electricity. What happens to the conductivity of an electrolyte as its concentration reduces? I told you that concentration and conductivity are what? Inversely proportional. Concentration and conductivity. So concentration and conductivity are what? Inversely proportional. They are inversely proportional. Now, yes, you have between potassium chloride. Potassium chloride is a what? Strong electrolyte. Ammonia is a what? Weak electrolyte. I explained this very well in the previous video. So yes, which one will conduct electricity better? Is it between this one or this one? Yes, the KCl will conduct better. Reason because what? It is a strong electrolyte. It ionizes completely. So it will give what? More ions. It will give more ions. Yes, this place they said which of the following is a good conductor of electric currents? Electric currents. Glucose, no. Potassium chloride, yes. Ethanol, no. Kerosene and petrol, no. The same thing here. Which of the following will show least conductance? Least conductance. Yes. Ethanoic acid is a weak electrolyte. Potassium and ethanoate is a what? Is a strong. Then ammonia is also a weak electrolyte. Ammonium chloride is what? Is a strong. So which one will show least conductance? That's what? 1 and 3. Because they are what? They are weak electrolytes. They are weak electrolytes. Let's move on to the next. How am I able to recognize strong and weak electrolytes? I said strong electrolytes are what? Strong acid, strong bases, and they are what? And they are salts. So this is a salt from HCl. This is a salt from KOH. So they are strong electrolytes. Yes, let's move on now. Which of the following observation is correct? In this, you have okay, we have what? We have copper, and we also have what? Copper. What will happen? The bulb will light normally because the electrolysis will take place. Now, copper is what? Deposited at which one? Copper is deposited at the cathode and it dissolves at the what? At the anode. So check it out in your option. This is it. Copper is deposited at the cathode. Oh no, oxygen liberated, no. Let's check this place. Copper is deposited at the cathode and disappears from the anode. So option C is correct. Yes. Which of the following will conduct the least amount of electricity? Potassium chloride, ethanoic acid, and what? Glucose. Glucose will not even conduct electricity at all. If they say which one will conduct most electricity, this one is a weak, this one is a strong, this one is a strong. So most amount of electricity will be what? It should be A or B. So how do you check your answer? Concentration of this one is greater. So you go for, yeah. So that's just, let's move on now. Yes, during electrolysis, which one goes to the anode? Is it positive ions or what? Negative ions. Negative ions. Anode is positive. So this one can be correct. But this one, can you see positive ions are discharged at the anode? This one can never be correct. Positive ions are discharged at the anode. This one can never be correct. So you are left with A or C. Now what happens at the anode? Oxidation. What is oxidation? Loss of electron. So negative ions are by what? By losing an electron. This one they said gaining an electron. So by losing sufficient electrons. So what? C is correct. C is correct. Yes, let's try this one out. In the electrolysis of caustic potassium solution, you have KOH. You have KOH. What will happen? What will happen at the what? At the electrolyte? What will be the, yes? Yes, let's dissociate it. We have what? K plus, then what? OH minus, then H plus, OH minus. Out of these two, which one will be discharged? We have what? K plus. Then out of these two, which one will be discharged? OH minus. So oxygen will be discharged, hydrogen will be discharged. What will be the effect on the electrolyte? You have KOH left. It will be what? It will be basic. So okay, alkalinity what? Increases. Alkalinity increases. Potassium cannot be deposited at the anode. Potassium is not even deposited at all. What do we deposit? Hydrogen. Hydrogen. Yes. Then this option D, they said oxygen is given at the cathode. No, oxygen is given at the what? At the anode. Anode. OH minus goes to the anode. Yes. We've done 16, 17, 18. Okay, we've done 19. We've done almost everything. Okay, I don't think we've done this 19. What will happen at the anode? What happens at the anode? Loss of electron. Loss of electron. And which type of ions do we have at the anode? Negative ions. So this one cannot be correct. It is positive. Yes. Okay. They said in the electrolysis of what? Sodium chloride. Let's just do it. Sodium chloride. Na plus, Cl minus, right? H plus, OH minus. Then they said what? At the anode. This is the anode. Which one will be discharged? OH minus. So that's what? Oxygen gas. So OH minus will be discharged. This is it. Option B. We've done 20. Purification. We've done 21, we've done 22, we've done 23, we've done 24, we've done 25, we've done 26, 27, 28, 29. Now from 30, we've done it in the other video, calculations on electrolysis. So we've done all these ones too. So you can just check out the video. We've done all this one. We've done all this one. For the calculation, I just gave you three formulas. Then if you remember, it was posted some weeks ago. I gave you three formulas. Mass is equals to molar mass Q over NF. Then volume is equals to molar volume Q over NF. Then mole is equals to what? Q over NF. These three formula will solve any question you have. And remember, there are some questions where they will say it's discharge 2 naira, or the cost of electricity is what? 2 naira. This 2 naira is what? It's the same thing as your quantity of electricity. You understand? It's the same thing as your quantity of electricity. So don't be scared. If they say 2 naira, if it takes 24 grams to discharge 2 naira, how many will it? And I taught you how to relate. So if you've not checked out that video, just check it out. Just check it out. Scroll back. You see a video on calculations on electrolysis. So in the next video that we'll be making, we'll be talking on electrochemical cell, and that will be all for this video. Thanks so much for staying to the end. This is the Celebrated High Achievers Mentorship Program, Champ. We are bringing academic dreams to reality.